What's going on, everybody? Nate Rock coming back with another informative video. I've been putting out a lot of content. I've been putting out a lot of real estate talk, and a lot of people have been reaching out to me and they're intrigued by the real estate industry as a whole, and they're curious what it's like to actually be a real estate agent and what like your day to day looks like and what maybe some of the pros and cons are. Let's start out with the cons. There are some negatives to being a real estate agent, but there are a lot of positives. Just like any other job, it is very unconventional. It's not your typical employee. You are your own business. You do technically file your own taxes as your own business owner, so you are a 1099 employee as opposed to a W-2 employee. So you're responsible for paying all of your taxes. You're responsible for paying any associated bills that might come with being an agent or getting the paint if you were a contractor. It's very similar to owning your own business. Something that can be pretty difficult with real estate is that since there is no set schedule, since there is no 9 to 5 structure and it is unconventional, it kind of can be tough to set some boundaries, where there's always something that you could be doing. There's always one more call that you could make, or there's always one more email that you could send, or there's always one more marketing piece of material that you can make. There's always one more thing to do. You can always be proactive, and you can always be extending your sphere of influence, and you can really always be reaching and posting. So there's really always something that you can be doing, which in some cases can be good and in some cases can be bad. Another downside of working as a real estate agent, again, this could be from person to person, is that you do have to be your own boss. So you do need to hold yourself accountable. You do need to set your own schedules. You do need to go and do all those appointments. You really don't have someone that's forcing you to go to work or forcing you to be at a desk for 9 to 5. It's very unconventional in that way. So you really need to have a lot of personal motivation that's going to bring you to that table and make sure that you sit down and get everything done that you say you're gonna, and you're not just going to tell yourself and write it down and then not do it. So you really need to hold yourself accountable, which is very important. One of the main things that some people would look at a con is definitely the fact that you have no salary. You don't earn any money until you fulfill your duty of selling the property or going through with the buy of a property or doing a rental and getting a lease signed. So until that very last day where everything is all said and done, and a lot of things go on between when you write that initial offer to when you're closing, there's a lot of things that go in between that could fall through. Someone could lose their job, or someone could take out a new line of credit that might affect their score, and then that will change the loan. There's a lot of things that go into it. So having no salary and no benefits and no net to fall back on is really something that some people can look at as very negative. But on the contrary of that, a pro of working as a real estate agent can mean that there's unlimited income potential. Your broker's not going to come up to you one day and say, hey, you're selling too much, or hey, you're making the company too much money, or hey, you're doing too well, you really need to tone it back. That's never going to happen. So that's really the coolest part of being a real estate agent, is that there's no ceiling. Another thing about real estate is that the market is very volatile. So there is down times, there is up times. Rates could be down or rates could be up. Home sales could be very high or home sales could be very low. It could be a buyer's market, it could be a seller's market. So really, there's going to be a lot of market volatility. So you really have to play on that and hope that you can capitalize on a downward turn, maybe for investors, or an upward turn where maybe you're selling a lot more properties and it's a good time for sellers to put their property on the market because there's a lot of buyers. You really have to try and capitalize on the fluctuation that are within the market, as opposed to looking at a negative. You really want to try to take that change and kind of use it to your advantage. There are a lot of upsides with real estate, like I mentioned. Being your own boss and being able to make your own schedule is something that's huge, and that's something that everyone wants. And if you don't want that, I don't know why you wouldn't. But being able to set your own schedule and not ask anyone for time off, or make sure that you have enough PTO, or you need to talk to Jimmy and the boss and make sure that it's okay, and then he didn't show up. And then, so having your own boss and not really having to answer to anyone, and not needing to set a schedule through anyone, and you can really have the freedom of that, and that's really an amazing feeling, knowing that you don't need anyone else to tell you what to do, or you don't need anyone else to force you to come to work. It's really all on your time, and that freedom is priceless. Being a real estate agent can be very fulfilling. You're providing people an investment, you're providing people a place to live, you're providing them with an asset that's going to benefit them in more ways than just one. So that could be really fulfilling. You put a happy family into a brand new single family house that's going to put them in a good school system, and you're going to make sure that everything's okay, and you do an inspection and everything's kosher, and you save them a lot of money. That can be a really fulfilling feeling. You're setting their family up for the rest of their life. So that's an amazing feeling that you're able to do that. And it all comes back to the unlimited income potential. You know, there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling of how much you can make, and the possibilities are endless. And that's an amazing feeling. Other than the freedom, you know, that's an amazing feeling. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. You know, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm going to be posting another video about how exactly you can get your license. That's another thing that comes up a lot. A lot of people ask me, you know, where do I go to get my license? What should I be researching before? And that whole thing. So I'm definitely going to be posting another video about that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Put all my information in the description below. Facebook and Instagram, I post there just about all the time. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Any other video ideas, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll definitely get around to them.